to political spending. In a new Bloomberg Politics national poll, 78% of those responding said the Citizens United ruling should be overturned, compared with 17% who called it a good decision. The 5-4 ruling said that corporations have a First Amendment right to spend unlimited sums in support of political causes. Several Democratic candidates have said they will insist their Supreme Court nominees oppose Citizens United. So does the wealthy have too much influence in politics? That's our topic this half hour. We want to hear from you on our Fox 26 Facebook page and on Twitter. Use the hashtag Fox26forlife. Joining us live in the newsroom is our Roundup panel led by our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico, our news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. Good morning again, guys.
Good morning.
Just when you thought Americans could not agree on anything, there definitely seem to be a majority who agree on this.
Well, it seems that everyone is opposed to the rich people. That's what this poll says. You know, Citizens United was a huge First Amendment case and really changed the First Amendment litigation in the United States for the first time in a very, very long time. But you have seen the public on both, with 78% both sides of the aisle coalescing around the idea that if you leave Citizens United the way it is, then the super wealthy will control who gets elected and who doesn't get elected in the United States. And so I think that's why you're seeing the public generally say, we need to change this ruling. There was far less than this number of people in favor of gay marriage when the U.S. Supreme Court finally said that gay people have a right to marry in the United States. And so I don't know if it comes back up to them again, Jackie Bally, that they can ignore it this time, because 78% has to include a good number of Republicans.
Everyone knows that money has some kind of input, influence in politics. That's just the way it's been. When we looked at the 2012 presidential race, President Obama outraised Romney by twice as much. He raised over 600 million versus Romney's 300 million. Now, and the opposite effect we're seeing in the Republican primary, where you have Jeb Bush and his super PAC, and they have raised quite a bit of money, and yet he continues to tumble in the polls. So you're seeing the opposite effect in that race, where money is not really an impact. But in most races, money has had influence, and money has helped certain politicians and elected officials. Does that mean we have to change the law and say, as a citizen, you need to stop giving money to your person of choice? No, of course not. That's your right. That's your prerogative.
But to quote some of my Republican friends, this was 9 unelected people telling us how we had to live.
I don't understand what you just said.
That's what the Republicans said about the Supreme Court when they
Okay. Well, I mean, first of all, if you're going to tell me how I should spend my money, I think that's a problem. And the Supreme Court said, look, if people want to spend their money on a certain candidate, they have that right.
To part of what Jackie said, Scott Walker got $1 billion from the Koch brothers and is already out of the race. Isn't that a pretty good argument saying that Citizens United is not a problem?
Well, they will take that $1 billion and put it somewhere else. I think, look, I think that there is a sense that it's individual contributions to individual members, and I should be able to make them
my $100 should have an impact. Right.
But that's not what's happening. What's happening is individual donors are starting to decide which state legislatures they want to flip, right, and how they want to shape congressional politics and state house politics everywhere across the country that benefits them in specific. So put it in context, last election cycle when President Obama ran, he raised close to $1 billion to run for the president of the United States. Unprecedented number, more than anybody had in history before him. 2 brothers, a family of Koch brothers, decided they're going to spend that equal amount, where President Obama might have had thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people that contributed to this. 2 individuals will say, we're going to spend the equal amount to change the government of the United States. And that, and the American public understands that that's a problem.
Coming back, I want to talk about that because, George Bush was the first one who said, I don't need the matching funds. And I want to talk about that coming back because that's where we see the change in politics in America. I want to go to social media. Sally's monitoring that.
Okay, let's take a look at Twitter, and we will look at the Bloomberg Politics little graph that they made here showing that overwhelmingly there is a majority of Americans that disagree with the Supreme Court's ruling on allowing corporations to spend unlimited amounts on political causes more than any other Supreme Court decision like gay marriage, abortion, the Affordable Health Care Act. And then this person says democratically elected government's job is to represent interests of all citizens, not just just the wealthy ones who try to buy it.
What about that? I mean, you know, George Bush was the first president, try that again. The first person running for president who said, I don't need the matching funds. I can raise so much money, I'm going to turn down matching funds so I'm not limited in what I spend. And that's when you saw the shift that we're talking about today.
And you have a lot of good campaigners. The President Bush was very good on the campaign trail. So people like him are very confident. No, I don't need the matching funds, because when I will go out there on the campaign trails, I'll shake hands and I will get individuals to give me whatever amount those individuals choose to give me. Another thing that's really equivalent to that is the Tea Party movement. A lot of these Tea Party candidates and a lot of these Tea Party elected officials were always the ones who were underfunded by far, but they had the movement and they were the ones who went out and did the grassroots and got elected.
I think the reason 78% of the people are opposed to Citizens United is because it takes what Jackie's talking about and makes those people a nullity. I can give you $100, $150. I can't match the Koch brothers' billion.
Yeah, and look, the problem is far more pervasive. The money is not just being to individual candidates, and it's not just corporations. They're wealthy individuals that are putting money. It's not just the corporations, it's the individual people that are doing this. And they're not just funding candidates. They're creating their own organizations to shape policy. So when you can walk into any particular state and say, I'm going to put down, you know, $300 million and I'm going to change 7 state representatives so that I can get control over the state legislature, that's no longer democracy.
Do you think, but we're only got 30 seconds left, each of you, do you think the Supreme Court next time it gets a chance will overturn this, given 78% of the people are opposed to it?
I don't think they should. I think if I feel that I want to give 50% of what I make to a certain elected official, that's my right.
Look, at this point, people are building spreadsheets to say, if I'm going to get this tax break, this is how much I will save. How much do I need to spend to change the legislature to get my tax break? So it's no longer democracy because people are equating to a business investment rather than just free speech.
But it is democracy if I make the choice that this is the person I want to invest in.